Hi everybody and welcome back to episode 5 of Making Beats in Pro Tools. Today we are going to create, it's a kind of an eerie sound or a mystical kind of a sound. So we're going to be using all stock plugins with Expand, mostly Expand. Let's listen to a bit of that before we get stuck in. So on this track, on this tune, the BPM is 111, and that's how you can change it there, just at the top. You can put in the BPM of it right there. Click OK after double clicking this little red dot. Now the first sound we have is in guitars, and it's called distorted lead. Now when you get a few chords recorded in, you can add some notes on top of that without it affecting what you've already recorded. And what you need to do to be able to do that is go up here to the top and click MIDI merge. And that allows you then to add in notes as it's playing. So you can play around with the chords with different notes until you get something you like. As you can see there, it's recorded them in at the bottom, but it hasn't affected the chords at the top, because if you didn't click MIDI merge, them notes would override them chords and they would disappear. So it's just a good thing to know in MIDI. Now underneath the distorted lead we have a kind of a strings sound, and it's in huge pads and it's called full hand. Now this next track we have another stock plugin that comes free with Pro Tools, the Mini Grand, and we're going to go with a hard model and an ambient sound. And what I'm going to do now for this next track is I'm going to just copy this MIDI down. C, semicolon, semicolon twice, and V. And then I'm going to just put in an organ sound. It's called Digital Church Organ. It's a cool sound. Checking the volumes as I go along and panning whatever way I want them panned as well. And for the bass we're going to create a mono instrument track, and the sound is in synth basses. So let's add some drums. So in the second half of the song I've added a drum loop just right there. You can get it under loops, drum loop and perc 120, percussion 096. Now a drum loop is always good to add in a song or in parts of a song because it adds movement. So I'm going to take it in and out of the song for you to hear. You can watch me mute it here with the mute button and you can see the change that it makes. I just raise the level a little bit. It's a good way, as I say, of adding movement to a song that spices it up a bit. Now also, as you go along, you can also fine-tune sounds if you want to in Expand. Up in these knobs here, you can adjust the attack or the decay or the release, or fine-tune them as well. You should play around with these knobs here just to see what sounds, how it affects the sound and what you think about them, because you can get some really cool sounds with them. Some hi-hat. So that's it for this week, folks. It was short and sweet. It gives you an idea again of the sounds in Expand in Pro Tools, and you can try the different sounds on your songs or your beats that you're making. I'm going to leave some links to the rest of the breakdowns or the reproductions of songs in Pro Tools, the same as this. There's an atmospheric one and a pop one and a guitar beat, and so if you enjoyed this, yeah, I'm sure you enjoyed the other ones. Hopefully it was informative in some way and you learned something from it. I'll also leave a link for if you're just beginning to use MIDI in Pro Tools. I'll leave a link up here at the top, somewhere along the top here, a little card for quick tips or tips in Pro Tools using MIDI. It goes from the very beginning of creating a session and then drawing in MIDI and drawing in chords. It's more in-depth than this. So hopefully you enjoyed this week's video. I'll release another track next Friday, and then the following Friday I'll reproduce it in Pro Tools, and hopefully you got something from it this week. And I'd really love if you like and subscribe to the channel. It'd help it grow. And thank you for watching, and hope to see you in the next video.